Hey. Thank you for coming back to watch a video. That is very appreciated. I am shocked and ever grateful. So today, I would like to discuss some common medical beliefs. Some old wives' tales. Now, some of these are funnier than others. But I would like to point out that there is nothing wrong with not knowing something. See, not knowing something means you can learn something. And learning is absolutely a wonderful part of life. If you know everything, then you can't learn anything. That makes life pretty boring. I mean, just ask any of my ex-wives. They know everything, and their lives are miserable. So the first one I would like to go over is the very common belief that frogs give you warts. Now, most likely this is a common belief because, well, look at frogs. They have warts. Now, warts are actually caused by a virus. Similar to the HPV virus, which you may remember people flipped out over schools requiring the vaccine. Like, oh, if you vaccinate my kid against cervical warts, then she'll get pregnant. Because I don't know how your doctor gives vaccines, but I have never administered a vaccine that could result in pregnancy. Sorry. But if they're caused by a virus, frogs are covered in warts, would make sense that frogs might have the virus and be able to pass it on to you. That is what I was taught by my mother, who is a highly educated woman with more than 3 decades experience in the medical field. Makes sense. Not true. There are no amphibians that carry a virus that causes warts that can be transferred to a human being. I actually didn't learn that until I was already in my medical training. So, the good news is you can play with frogs and not get warts. The bad news is you won't be able to tell your partner that you were wading around in a pond and a frog gave you genital warts. You're going to have to come up with another lie. Alright, next on the docket is shaving will make your hair grow back thicker. Well, not true. Now, I do understand where it comes from, though. When do you start shaving? Okay, no, not an age. People generally start shaving when they grow hair. I'm going to stick with facial hair to keep it clean, and I don't want to know about your landscaping downstairs, okay? So, my older brother started shaving when he was like 12, maybe 13. And this was because he had a little more than peach fuzz at that age. And it violated the school dress code. So he started shaving. So that's why he has such a thick beard now? Well, no. See, when I was 15, my beard was really thin and patchy. Now at 40, well, my facial hair is still pretty thin, but not nearly as thin as it was. Regardless of whether you shave or not, as you get older, your facial hair just grows thicker. I mean, if shaving made hair come back thicker, then guys that are going bald and start shaving their head, they wouldn't go bald, would they? Okay, so I wanted to discuss the vaccines, autism. There is no way I can point out how wrong that belief is in a short little blurb without sounding like an asshole. Maybe if people want it, I will make a video about the history of vaccines and why there has always been a group that is hesitant about it. But after multiple takes and retakes, let me just say this. Vaccines do not cause autism. And my Facebook is linked in my YouTube page, and feel free to message me if you would like to discuss it, but they don't cause autism. Alright, now this is a fun one. Now, in my experience, it affects females more than males. In my experience, I am aware that time changes. Don't get offended at that. I'll give you much better reasons to be offended, I'm sure. But chocolate or greasy foods cause acne. It's not true. See, pimples are caused when the glands under the skin produce something called sebum. Sebum, yes. It is a waxy, oily substance. Now, when you're a teenager, you go through some changes. And your body is not used to having this oil come out of your skin. Yeah, little kids sweat, but they don't produce sebum. So, your body's not prepared for it, and you trap in the pores oil, sebum, bacteria, or dirt, which causes whiteheads, blackheads, acne, right? Now, the way to fix it is unclog the pores and get the stuff out. Simple. How do you do that? Well, there is a multi-billion-dollar industry that revolves around how to do that. Now, the reason why I had mentioned it affects females more than males, in my experience. Tim Allen, his first sitcom, Tool Time, Home Improvement, right? On Home Improvement, his oldest son, Brad, had a pimple before a date. And he's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And his dad's like, I got this. Puts a hot compress on it, right? It comes to a head, and then, boom, squeezes and pops everything out. Pimple's gone. Now, it did, in that case, and in many cases, leave behind bruising, scabbing, and scarring, which is quite noticeable. Way more noticeable than the pimple was. So, his mom came along and saved the day with makeup. And it was funny, and his dad wasn't that fond of the idea of his son wearing makeup. And that was the gist of the comedy. Now again, time changes. But it wasn't meant to be offensive. It was just pointing out the difference between moms and dads, sons and daughters, It's what comedy is. We laugh about our differences. Okay, this is pretty ill-advised, but I would like to take a moment to discuss the treatments. As I said, an entire industry has popped up on this magic cure, that magic cure. Basically, there's three things that they use. You have salicylic acid, alcohol, and peroxide. Now, salicylic acid will dissolve the sebum, kill the bacteria, and opens the pores up. It also dries the skin out and causes redness and irritation. It's what is used in a lot of those like scrubbing pads, I'm not going to say name brands, that advertise no alcohol. Alcohol does essentially the same thing, only it's stronger, works better, but dries the skin out more, irritates the skin more, and can be painful. And then you have hydrogen peroxide, which is nothing more than just water with some extra oxygen molecules. And what it does is it pulls out all the nastiness. When that extra oxygen molecule escapes, the bubbles pull out the stuff that's clogging the pores. Fewer side effects, less effective. Everybody is different, and everyone is affected differently by the side effects. Only reason I mention it is because I have seen companies charging extremely high prices for something that is basically just one of those three things with scents or flavors or fucking marketing added to it. In my opinion, go speak to a dermatologist and try one of those three over-the-counter treatments. Work with a dermatologist and see if those work, or if you need an antibiotic on top of that. Talk to a professional. A celebrity making a commercial on TV should be taken into consideration way after a doctor. So yeah, go see a dermatologist. Alright, so this one came dangerously close to the anti-vaccine part of the video. But we're good. We're good. This one should make it. Yeah. This one does kill me, though. So, aspirin comes from tree bark. Most modern medicine comes from plants or things in nature, right? Now, sure, we took that and we added to that and added to that and added to that, and things keep getting better and stronger and woo. But ginger is really good for nausea. Now, I am aware it is not the cure-all, and it's not always the answer. When there are major issues, no, you need Phenagrin, or you need Zolfran. But there are cases where ginger is good enough. Save you some money on some prescriptions, and you know what? It's natural, unless you're allergic to ginger. No harm, no foul. So when I say, let me get some white wine and some menthol, and I'll make you a muscle rub that will help with pain, you might hear lavender oil cures prostate cancer. No. See, people take things to extreme levels. There are some pretty good home cures, right? But it has become a billion-dollar industry preaching about don't use this billion-dollar industry. Maybe I can do a video in the future discussing specific home treatments, but look, if it is non-life threatening, right, do some research And you're not a moron if there is a home treatment for a non-serious issue that you can use. Lemon for a sore throat? Yeah, it can help. Just remember, Steve Jobs thought he could use essential oils to cure cancer. It didn't work for him. And he was a very, very rich man. Don't go outside with wet hair or underdressed in the cold. We've all heard this. Believe it or not, this actually caused me to have a very serious disagreement with a sergeant major. So these are the facts. Temperature does not increase or decrease the bacteria or the viruses floating out there that get you sick. Unless it's over 140 degrees. And in that case, stay indoors. However, when you are cold, your body has to put in effort to warm you up. Now, this can result in your body being overworked to the point where it will ignore a mild issue that the immune system would generally find and attack and kill. Now, this doesn't apply to major issues, and it doesn't apply to everybody in every situation, or even most, really. However, going out in 2 feet of snow in shorts can increase the chance that your body will ignore a bug or a virus that can get you sick. So kids, listen to your mom. Wear your damn jacket, alright? So, you have a cold, you're under the weather. Clearly, you need to go to the doctor and get antibiotics, right? Antibiotics, they're great. They are fantastic. Also, be sure to take them all the way through, not just when the symptoms are over. Take them all the way through, because symptoms will end before the sickness does, alright? Now, antibiotics, they're not very good for fungal or viral issues. But doctors will still prescribe them. I mean, first of all, it makes the patient happy and they don't bitch. And second of all, it gives you something else to bill them for. It is perfectly acceptable to go to a doctor and not be given medication. There's not a medicine for everything. Let's take the common cold. Common treatment is go home, rest for a couple days, drink lots of water. Now, we love being given something and told this will fix it. It's why placebos are effective. The whole thing just reminds me of an episode of Beverly Hillbillies. So, the banker, Mr. Drysdale. See, I have to hear Jethro say it. Mr. Drysdale, he has a cold. He goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, you need to go home, drink lots of water, and rest for 3 days. No. He's got an important business meeting. Can't be put off. No. Well, Granny, she has a cure. It is guaranteed to work. Everyone says it works. Promise. He's desperate, so he goes to Granny. And he eats and drinks and does things that are comically gross or painful, right? Goes through all this, and then Granny says, go home and rest for a couple days and drink plenty of water. You'll be cured. Guaranteed. I'm not sure how many of these are going to make it to the final cut. So, at this point, I'm not sure how long the video is going to be. But if you made it this far, thank you. Seriously. Now, if you can take anything away from this video, I hope you can take this. I have some beautiful eyes. And a silky smooth voice. Oh yeah. Also, this too. Being sick sucks. And I'm not saying you have to trust your doctor. That's like saying you have to trust your car mechanic. I'm not going to tell you who to trust. I will say, be careful where you're getting your information from. The biggest annoyance I had with patients was they would come in, I know what's wrong with me. I looked it up on this fucking website that I'm not going to name, right? Oh, okay. Well, you probably don't have that randomly specific tropical disease that only exists in a certain part of the world and only affects elderly black ladies because you're 22 and Asian and male and nowhere near that part of the globe. Do your due diligence. Be open, be honest with your provider. Ask questions. Make them explain the answers. Never be afraid to talk to your doctor or provider, and never care what they think. I was never once annoyed with being asked questions. I was only annoyed with being told bullshit that I knew was wrong. You are the customer. They are the provider. Yes, a doctor is not the same as a cashier, but they're still getting paid to provide you a service. Don't let them intimidate you or bully you. Okay, so I just finished editing this video, and I felt the need to point this out. Now, I say it over and over again in the video, ask a professional. This video is to provoke conversations with you and whoever you go to for your treatment. You are not my patient. I do not know your situation, and I refuse to give treatment or discuss your treatments with you unless we talk one-on-one for a proper amount of time. That being said, thank you so very much for watching this video, and please, let me know what you think.